In the name of God, today we want to know what the main factors of emotional intelligence are. The first factor is self-awareness, but not just any kind of self-awareness, rather emotional self-awareness. It means that we should know when, with whom, where, why we get angry, happy, disappointed, and motivated. This means we should understand the roots of our emotions, the roots of our feelings, and from there know how to manage our emotions. So the first case is to know our emotions. In the second place, it is to deeply understand how the process of feeling happy, disappointed, angry, or irritated works. And then, when I already know well the process of how these causes, which can be internal or external, are affecting me emotionally, provoking and raising feelings within me, I will know how I can manage my emotions. Secondly, the important factor in emotional intelligence is self-management, which means having self-control over emotions, how I can manage myself, handle my feelings and my emotions. It is not only about knowing, but also about managing. It means I control myself and do not get irritated. I control myself and do not get happy. I control myself and do not get disappointed. It means I am controlling myself and guiding myself to where is best for me. Now, I must be friendly and cheerful. That is not hypocrisy. Note that hypocrisy means having the intention to deceive people. You show what you are not. However, emotional intelligence helps you change yourself. Showing what you are not will not change you. It will change your person. That is to say, if I was a person who easily got irritated, shouted, got angry, insulted, I will control myself and change myself, managing myself. So what comes out on the outside is the same as what I have inside. But what I have inside, I have changed. I have managed it. It is something else. It is not hypocrisy. Many people will confuse emotional intelligence with hypocrisy because a hypocrite shows what they are not. For example, they are very sad and are giving a smile, but they are not. They are not smiling. But a person who has developed emotional intelligence, when faced with the causes that would normally make them sad, is controlling those causes and controlling themselves. They do not allow themselves to be overly joyful or too disappointed, as these emotions can lead them to make a decision or behave in a certain way. So it is a way, a part of intellect that helps you, controlling you so that you are not an emotional person. Well, then we are going to learn to control ourselves through emotional intelligence. When we are at our peak, we can say at the highest point of emotions, super excited, super provoked, super irritated, super angry, super upset. And now, at this moment, if you can control yourself, you have already developed that skill, which is emotional intelligence. That needs and requires a lot of practice. It is not just a science that you have heard about. No, it is a technique of self-control over behaviors and managing who we are. So we always need to keep the intellect active. Why do many people prefer a silent intellect? An intellect that doesn't say anything to them? Because they seek what they desire. If they are always in a quest for more pleasures, in an endless search to, we can say, satisfy their emotions. That is the most dangerous path that exists. Because when a person sets aside intellect, they no longer care about the consequences. And when they no longer care about the consequences, this person becomes so dangerous that any inhumane act can arise from them, because they do not care about the consequences. What matters to them now are their desires, their lust, their ambition. We can say everything that we can call a sentimental, emotional being. And in many ways, with an insatiable ambition. Well, a person who has well-developed emotional intelligence can endure. Resilience is an important factor in success. A person who can withstand bitter events, who can face what is ugly, that person can endure, and therefore that person will achieve success because they will not change their path. They will change their direction. For example, if they encounter a rock that prevents them from moving forward, they will turn and return to the path. This means they are resilient, but they are also intelligent. They are resilient. So these people, in the most difficult moments, can make the most correct decisions. These people are going to be the great commanders in war. They will be great leaders in politics, excellent teachers in the classroom, and the best parents. Why? Because that person, in the most difficult moments of life, can make the right decision, a correct decision. Why? Because it does not allow itself to be affected by anger, affected by love, affected by ambition. It has everything under control. These people can indeed handle the situation. Well, another characteristic of people with developed emotional intelligence is the ability to adapt to the worst situations. This means that many people in the worst situations lose their patience, cannot adjust to the new circumstances, and cannot adapt to the new situation. They are individuals who will break down quickly. They can no longer continue and cannot endure. But a person with developed emotional intelligence has the ability to adapt to both the worst and the best situations. If their salary is reduced, they still cope and work very well. And if their salary is doubled, they still work very well. It means it is a person who adapts in the worst situations and in the best situations. Would you say that for the best situations, there's no need to adapt? Of course. Many times when we are very happy, we make the silliest decisions. You will see how many girls have been betrayed. And it was just at the moment when she was so happy, so foolish, that the guy, the boyfriend, I don't know who, took advantage of her. Those were the silly, stupid decisions made in moments of joy, supposedly. That is to say, not only when we are very sad, disappointed, or feeling like failures do we need to make logical decisions, but also when we are extremely happy or excited, we also need to make very logical decisions. Otherwise, we must face the consequences. This means that the consequences will fall upon us. So one of the things we can resist the most is having the ability to adapt to both the worst situations and the best situations. A good leader, a good company boss, who is a good manager, in the worst economic situations, takes the initiative, thinking about how to get out of such a dire and bad situation, will then think and make all possible changes. These people do not resist change. They are resilient in reaching their goals, but they do not endure on the path they have taken. Do you already have the purpose and the goal clearly defined? But how do you reach that goal? It depends on the situation. These people are already so intelligent that they know how to handle the situation, how to change situations, and all of this is thanks to emotional intelligence. These people, when they encounter an obstacle, do not clash against that person or that situation. They do not confront it, but rather they will go around it. They are two different things. Once you crash, you will exhaust all the positive energy you need to move forward. But once you get over the problem, that's it. Sometimes beneath the problem, you will get through, and that's it. And these people in family relationships, in leadership, in business, at work, in studies, are people who earn more than everyone else. Why? Because they already know that art of adaptation, that tolerance, they have learned it. A person who is resistant, stubborn, hard-headed, those people are always fighting, always struggling with everyone. With the teacher, they are fighting with the boss. They are fighting with their children. They are fighting with their spouse. That is a crazy person. They don't know how to adapt. They have no patience. In Islam, this is so important that a narration from the Prophet of Islam states that the character of a believer is to eat according to the appetite of their family. A believing man eats what his family desires, but a hypocritical man expects his family to adapt to him. In other words, he is a poor manager of the family because he is so ambitious and arrogant that his family must adapt to the desires of that man. Another important characteristic of that person is the ability to reflect and resolve the worst problems, whether they are administrative issues, communication problems, economic problems, etc. A person with developed emotional intelligence already knows that there is always a way out. If there is a problem, there is a way out. So start thinking about how to get out of that situation. How to turn threats into opportunities. That may be true, yes. It is a rule that all threats can be an opportunity that exists. That is to say, it depends on how you are managing the situation to turn threats into opportunities, disadvantages into virtues, into advantages. That does exist. A good leader who already possesses that skill, emotional intelligence, can control negative emotions. It's not that negative emotions will cause disappointment or demoralization. No, that doesn't exist. In a good leader with character, all problems already have a solution. He himself has self-criticism, meaning that before the problem becomes too big and unbearable and unsolvable, he is already acknowledging the issues. He will embrace the problem and turn it into a close friend of his, transforming it into an opportunity. Everything does exist. Look, brother, I am going to tell you the story of a great sage in Iran, in Rome. There was one, his name is Muhammad. Muhammadi is Tahardi. He was about 40 years old and was a religious man. At 40 years old, 45 years old, he had cancer and was practically hospitalized. Confined to the house, he could hardly go out, could not walk, and could not give the talk. This means that all the duties a religious person has, such as leading a mosque, giving talks, everything, he would no longer be able to do because the physical condition brought on by cancer prevented him from engaging in any social activity. What would you do in their place? You have cancer. You are practically immobile at home and cannot do anything. What would you do? Listen to me carefully. That person has had a blessed cancer. The truth can be said to be blessed. Why? Because that person, after cancer, lived for about 30 years with cancer. Listened carefully and started writing Islamic stories for children. I and many young Iranians who speak Persian now have previously read or are currently reading the books he created, the books of anecdotes, the books of legends. He himself, who was practically immobile in the house, began to accumulate many beautiful stories and started writing books. One of those is Dustino, the anecdotes and wise advice, among other books he wrote, but after the cancer. You see, many people, when they are about to have an illness, it is a threat, yes, but they do not know how to turn that threat into an opportunity. That person, having been hospitalized for more than 2 or 3 decades of their life, started writing many books. Previously, they did not write because they had social activities, went to the mosque, gave talks, etc. But this made him become a great genius, a great sage, a great author. That is what happens to us many times. We have family problems, but instead of turning family issues and threats into opportunities, we end up clashing so much, fighting so hard against that problem, that instead of solving it, we make it bigger and bigger. a problem that had a solution, we will make it so big that it no longer has a solution. You are going to have a problem in your body. You are going to have a problem, I don't know, in the family relationship. Any other problem you will turn into a super big problem with complaints and emotional behaviors. When we face a problem, the first thing we must remove from ourselves are the emotions, the emotional reactions. Get rid of them. And now start thinking about how I can turn that threat into an opportunity. Because the general rule says that all threats are opportunities, but one must consider the threat along with intellect equals opportunity. That is the secret golden formula for success. Threats, along with 1,000 more, intellect will be opportunity. I ask you, now take a pen and paper and write down how many threats in your life you have been able to turn into opportunities. Threats that threatened all your interests, threatened your success. And now, now that we are talking to you, how many threats do you have around you? You are about to lose your job. You are about to lose your wife. The doctors have already said that your illness has no cure, no remedy. Now write it down. Write them one by one. Write 20 threats that surround you. So think of it along with intellect. Every threat is an opportunity. It is always like that. Why? Because God is a perfectionist. God seeks the perfection of human beings. So every threat that God places in our lives, if we are believers, is an opportunity that God is opening for us, a door to move forward, to rise up, to continue stronger. So, another of the main and important characteristics of a person with emotional intelligence is that they know how to collaborate with others, understand them, and work together. They are not selfish, and their emotions do not dominate them, but rather their intellect does. And in his intellect, he says, look, I can only do one job, but 10 people can do 10 jobs. To achieve my success, to reach my purpose, I need to do 100 jobs, 100 things. 100 things are done by 100 people. So, in order to achieve success, I need collaboration. I need support. I need organization. I need to organize my people and count on their support. So each of them will become an important factor in my factory, in my work, in my organization. But a person who is selfish, thinking, I know everything, I do everything, does not care about others. When these people do not care about others, they do not pay attention to them. When they do not pay attention, they do not love them. Therefore, they will not have support from them and cannot collaborate with them, because they will not collaborate with an arrogant, selfish, self-centered person. This person is hated, and no one likes this type of person. Therefore, the main factor in being able to count on the support of others is to have well-developed emotional intelligence so that you can control your ego and collaborate with others. As long as we remain arrogant and selfish, thinking that what little we have is enough and that we do not need others, we will treat them poorly, which will prevent anyone from wanting to collaborate with us. And another positive aspect of emotional intelligence is improving the way we communicate. This means that we communicate with many people. The question is, when we communicate, what purpose do we have in starting to talk and communicate? And in the end, have we achieved what we were looking for from that relationship, from that communication, or not? A person who always follows their emotions says whatever comes to their mind, even if it's ugly, like, look how fat you are. Look, you're like a bear. To another person, he says, oh, look how skinny you are, like a monkey. Do you understand? He starts to mock people begins to say things that are rude, and when he talks to his wife, he says ugly things. This indicates that within his own communication, he has emotional problems. Many things that come out appear to us, many emotional moods that we have are not positive. So when you express it, you are provoking others, opening the door to many problems, losing their trust, losing their support. Why? Because of you, because of your poor communication skills. So intellect helps us. When you have well-developed emotional intelligence, that helps you. When before speaking, I think, I'm very happy, I want to say this phrase. Wait, don't say it, be quiet. Now the intellect is going to analyze it, meaning that every fact and every statement made by the intellect is analyzed and then expressed verbally. It starts to communicate in this way because it is fully aware of the consequences. It is not an indifferent person regarding their way of communication, but rather becomes a highly responsible person for what they say. This is called taqwa, which means to have piety, always, keeping in mind that there is a God above, not just above, but everywhere. A God who is watching over me is seeing me. All blessings come from God. All curses come from disobedience to God. So this person thinks a lot about the consequences. They already have everything under control. They are a passive, strong, influential person, and also controlled in communication. Those people already know how to cheer others up, how to have active, positive, and strong communication, and how to be influential. But a person who is emotionally weak will always say whatever comes to their mind without thinking or analyzing, and they will always end up regretting it. One of the characteristics of a person with developed emotional intelligence is that they do not regret because what they did was the right thing. It was not a hasty decision for later. Oh, what a pity. They should think it over better. They should think better, is the phrase of foolish people. An intelligent, wise believer who already has well-developed emotional intelligence knows how to act and will make the best decisions in the moment. These people already understand the emotional situation of others. So, they are timely, not untimely. They know when and how, what to say to your wife when she is disappointed. Isn't it that when your wife starts to complain, you begin to insult her? What is the result? It's not that she has complained and that has upset me, so I am annoyed. Since you are annoying, you should control the situation. Think about whether she is complaining and needs some affectionate, loving attention. If you start to caress, hug her, kiss her, and say sweet words, she will stop complaining. That's one thing. This is a secret that has worked. It is an intelligent method. 2, we can say, fix the relationship with your wife. Starting today, when you see your wife complaining, instead of responding back, you approach your wife, kiss her, caress her, whisper sweet words in her ear, and begin to hug her. She will calm down. 2001 women, when they need their husband's attention, that is also not right. It's not that we justify it, but as men, we must understand that what they are complaining about is not what is important at this moment. The content of the complaint doesn't matter. The complaint has a double meaning. It essentially says, pay attention to me, love me, I don't know. Be affectionate with me. So you approach her, kiss her, hug her, and start saying sweet words. Everything will calm down. And you say, darling sweetheart, I will buy you everything you desire. These phrases will not mean anything. With 2 or 3 phrases like that, in this style where you say, yes, that's true, you are right, you have always suffered. You are the best woman I have ever known. You are my hope. So these things, even if you lie, there is no problem. In that sense, lying is allowed. Then you will see that in a miraculous way, all the problems will be resolved. And that is the solution to many problems we have in communication, in relationships, and in society. Understanding and comprehending the emotional state and acting intelligently. In the next class, we will explain how emotional intelligence helps you to be an optimistic person rather than a pessimistic one. Keep listening to these talks. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.